This is Dexter Jacobs here with Indie Comic Ninjas. What do we call this? Indie Tuesday.
Indie Tuesdays. I think that's what they're
I didn't
calling
write
us.
it down.
I
I didn't write it
Yeah.
down. And with me today is
Ben Dupé.
Ramondo Burnside.
and filling in for Andrew.
Dan Umthun.
Yeah. So welcome, Dan Umthun. If you're not familiar with Dan, why haven't you been on the internet enough? He leads the Doomcast.
Yeah.
Is that on Facebook?
I lead it in that it's like one person doing one very dumb thing.
Yeah.
Once a week.
As opposed to like 4 people doing one really dumb thing.
Well, it's an enjoyable thing to watch, though, because you really dive into some interesting concepts on comics, I suppose. I don't know how I would necessarily describe it, because you just kind of cover concepts, I suppose.
Sometimes history, sometimes like specific, sometimes like listicles in video form.
Yeah. Well,
but
one
it's
time
all-
you interviewed somebody who cosplayed as Harley Quinn, I know.
Oh, for sure,
Which I
yeah,
can never
Sarah.
remember her name. Sarah,
You
yeah.
interviewed D-Rat and Allen once too, right?
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
I did.
he's awesome. I love him.
Yeah, he's awesome. I'm going to try and I'm going to C2E2.
Nice.
Nice.
And I'm going to go to Planet Comic-Con. I was at Planet Comic-Con last year, and I had my camera, and I was doing it, the Doomcast, and I was like this close to just like rolling up to Matt Kent, because I was talking to him for an extended period of time, and I was like, would it be cool if I just set this here and like can we just talk? And I just thought it would end up too creepy, and so I was
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not going to do it. But now I've got like a tripod,
Nice.
and, like
So it looks
legit
more
stuff, so I
official,
might
yeah.
be able to
Legit.
just be like, could I have a moment of your time, sir?
Yeah, I did that at Midwest Comic Con, but I didn't have a camera, so I actually like just walked around to artists and was like, "Hey, can I interview you and record it on my phone? And I'm gonna like type up an interview later." And like then I typed up an article with all the interviews, but everyone was really cool about it. Like they
the
were,
beautiful
Yeah.
thing is nobody's going to say no.
yeah, they all want publicity. You know?
Yes.
They're all cool with it.
Well,
so.
and I've even heard from other interview podcasters that, like, especially with the bigger names, as long as you like pay for them to draw something for you, essentially, like if you do a commission, then they're usually okay with doing an interview during the commission, because otherwise
for
you're
sure.
taking up their time when
Yeah.
they could be doing somebody else's commission, and so it's just like, well, they're doing yours, they
Two
might as well
birds, one
talk to you.
stone.
Yeah.
Get it done.
And so I knew a guy who got some pretty big names that way, which is interesting.
Cool.
Yeah. No,
Is that actually a podcast that you do, or is it like a YouTube channel? Or?
It's notionally it's on Cape's YouTube channel.
Okay.
But I just have the Facebook page for it, basically.
cool.
Just because YouTube doesn't autoplay like quite the same way.
Sure.
And I'm shooting for just something that's short and kind of in the very superficial, fake, like, I don't know, internet culture. It's called snackable content, I guess.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Which I hate. I hate saying stuff
snacks?
like that.
Yeah.
You know,
I hate saying stuff that makes me feel like it's like I'm trying to con people into like watching something. It's just short. is what
But
it is.
I mean, that's good to have like little digestible pieces of content. Like that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Sometimes I've noticed
Dumb
like
fun.
we used to like do really long episodes for Nerd Church Radio, and it's like we would get less listens on that stuff, and it's like people like shorter. Sometimes it's daunting to have
Yeah.
like a 2-hour podcast to
What-
listen to.
And I know for me,
sure.
podcasts is one thing where I can turn it off and on as I get in and out of the car usually.
Yeah.
But then like for videos, I don't watch a lot of videos on the internet, and so the snackable content that you talk about, like that helps me to be able to watch your video, because otherwise I'm not going to give it any time if it's longer than 5 minutes.
Yeah, if it's more than that, people are just like, 5. What? I've got
Yeah.
like 30 seconds, maybe.
It's like, could you just write an article for me so I can skim it?
right? Yes, just bullet points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I hate it when like you click something, it's like 5 reasons for this, and then there's no bullet points. It's just like, you just said there were 5 reasons. That sounds like the perfect thing for
Just
bullets.
a giant
Yeah.
Anyway,
paragraph.
I should just start making like 10-second videos where it's like there's a cold open where it's just like, hey, we're going to talk about Batman, Tom King's Batman this week, and then it just like goes to a break, and you have like the opening sequence or whatever,
Yeah.
and then I just go, yeah, it turns out Batman by Tom King is pretty good, and that's it. Like, just close. That's it.
as
It's
long
like
as
a 40-second.
as long as that's like good advice, I would watch it.
Speaking of which, Tom King's Batman, holy shit, was like my favorite Did you read it?
It's super dope,
Dude, like that was like the best issue to come out of Rebirth so far, I thought.
Is that the newer Batman or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been a big fan of Tom King since like I picked up Omega Man, just because it was like, oh, this seems weird, and then it had Kyle Rayner in it.
Oh,
like,
I never read
I'm
that
totally
one.
gonna read.
Man, I'm totally down for some Kyle Rayner though.
It is like reading, because I think Tom King used to work for like the CIA. Or used to work
No shit.
he worked in military intelligence. And
Oh,
I
cool.
think he worked in Afghanistan and Iraq for a period of time.
That's crazy.
So that's where like Sheriff of Babylon kind of comes from. And but very much like Omega Men is like, it's a war story, and it's very much about like the cost of terrorism, not just on a culture, but on the people who are committing it. And
Wow.
like how there's no real heroes on either side, and Kyle Rayner's kind of caught in the middle of it, and you're kind of experiencing it through him. It's a really
Is that a DC book or like a Vertigo?
is a DC book.
I didn't know if it was Vertigo because it sounds more like kind of almost like adult themes, which you would think would go towards Vertigo, maybe.
It kind of it was produced in the DC universe, like it's in Kyle Rayner is sent there as a Green Lantern envoy to kind of oversee peace talks, and he ends up getting captured by rebels in the star system, and they're like, we believe in, everybody in this star system believes in Alpha, which is like a specific god. And then they're like, we also believe that there's another aspect to that god Alpha, and that's Omega. That's why we're the Omega Men. And they've basically been subjugated and colonized by one of the planets in the star system. The whole star system has been. And they've basically taken Kyle Rayner as a hostage, but he ends up becoming kind of part of their cause.
Oh, cool.
In a weird way. It's great. Anyway.
Man,
So
Color
this
me
is
interested.
an indie pod.
No, yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
it's
As far as talking about DC Comics, but yeah, that sounds awesome. Still,
Yeah, it
yeah.
does.
Yeah.
We love all comics, so
No,
yeah. I'll have to get on that, man.
I only
Omega
like
Man.
indie. But...
Cool. Whatever. You like DC. You listen to the DC
I do.
podcast.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like Marvel.
I'm such a DC fanboy.
Oh,
and
I am too. Especially now with Rebirth. Yeah, it's
Yes,
great. Yeah.
It's so much better.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah. Well, so we'll jump over to some indie books.
for sure. I guess, is there anything else people wanted to bring up before we really dive into the books? I know I wanted to point out that Coronary, that was written by Ryan Burke, I believe, that you guys interviewed,
Yeah.
got funded.
Sweet.
So that's pretty
Nice.
cool.
Yeah.
So
You
he
know?
hit his mark. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
he had funded like. Oh no! I was thinking he was. I confused him with J.M. Bryan for a second. Yeah.
no, J.M. Bryan got funded like
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, he was like over.
He's one of our patrons. We have
Yeah.
three patrons.
Really nice guy.
And yeah, but Coronary, written by Ryan Burke, and I don't know who illustrated it. You guys didn't interview him, I guess.
No, we just talked to him.
But no, it's a really good looking book. I backed it, so I know I'm looking forward to reading it. So.
Nice, very cool.
And then another one that I backed that got funded just yesterday. It was a bit of a slog. Was Steel Wool by Austin Allen Hamblin.
I
right on.
funded.
Yeah.
I backed that one too.
He was a local Iowan, kind of. I think it's Western Iowa. I think I don't know. Sorry, man.
Waterloo, Cedar Falls area.
Yeah, that area. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, that got funded, and I actually went in for two copies. So we'll be giving one of those away once I get that. So
Nice. Yeah.
it looked like a really cool book. It's a female superhero, like coming of age high school story. So it looked good.
Nice.
But yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up. And then, I guess we just mentioned J.M. Bryan, one of our patrons. So you can, if you're a big fan of this show, you can head over to patreon.com/IndieComicNinja and back us there. For $1, you can get exclusive content. We do the Patreon post show that you can listen onto, and any more than that, you can get some stickers, maybe a shirt, and some other things. So there's that. And speaking of J.M. Bryan, he has a really cool new like experimental comic with watercolors and stuff that's kind of cool. It's a little more prose maybe. But you're right.
It reminds me of like Jeff Lemire. Then he does like
he does
watercolors and prose and stuff.
He does some
yeah.
like it's like he'll paint the watercolors and then he'll outline kind of the way the watercolors ended up landing.
Cool.
And kind of tracing it and then writing a story that goes along with it. It's a little interesting. I'm really enjoying it. It's maybe
Nice.
a little out there as far as comics go, but it was enjoyable.
Very cool.
So there's that. And then the other thing that I really wanted to bring up was, which I don't think we bring up too much, but if you head over to indiecomic.ninja, our website, there's a lot of written reviews there.
Yep.
That are done by Ariel the Oracle, Ben's wife.
Yep.
And a couple other people.
Carl Hamlin and Brandon Reed.
Yeah, so there's some written reviews there, and I've noticed a couple of times that they've had some extremely different perspectives than what we've portrayed on this podcast for a couple of books. So it's worth a read over there. So head over to indiecomic.ninja.
And Kimberly also is a writer.
We're going to get all the names if we're going to say any of them. So
yeah,
for sure.
You know.
And just a big thanks to those guys for helping us out there.
They do wonderful work.
Yeah.
I always generally before I podcast, I'll jump onto either nerdchurchradio.com or indiecomic.ninja and I'll read what people had to say about the issues, because sometimes they'll uncover some stuff that I didn't uncover when I was reading, or maybe they'll think it was better than I thought it was, or vice versa. So yeah, they do good.
So anyway, anybody else have any goofy things to bring up?
Two things I've been kind of I guess nerding out on or whatever was Logan. I've seen Logan twice.
Yeah, you did.
Holy shit!
Oh wow, you hit it twice already?
Yeah, yep.
Nice.
Hands down, my most favorite comic book film ever made, I think.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a high mark.
Yeah.
I think it was better than
Civil War.
I think it was better than Guardians of the Galaxy, just in terms of if you're talking about logistically a good film, it was No Country for Old Men, kind of the filmography, and that was so good.
Nice.
And it wasn't a novelty. It was just genuinely a good movie.
Yeah,
So,
I wouldn't even necessarily describe it as a superhero film. It's more of just a really good drama
It's a
that
sto-
happens
it's a
to have
drama.
superheroes in it.
Yeah.
That's a good way to go about it. I mean, if you're gonna,
Yeah,
It
and
is.
it wasn't. It didn't need to be connected to anything else.
No.
It told a story front to back that was genuine and awesome and good. And I know a lot of people won't agree with me on saying that it's the best comic book movie ever, but just for me and my taste, I loved it, man. It hit the mark.
I'll be seeing it this week for sure, man.
Yeah, it was great. And then
I need to get on it.
me and Mondo have been playing Horizon Zero Dawn, which has been a really fun video game that we've been jamming on. So
juicy.
yeah, if you
That's
guys have,
the one with the weird mechanical animals.
yeah.
It meshes a lot of old world, it's been.
It's
apocalyptic.
It's post-apocalyptic mixed with fantasy, knights and kings and
So
stuff.
Final Fantasy.
Because it has that post-apocalyptic where everything is starting over, they're in tribesmen,
Right,
but yet
right.
you have these mechanical things, so it's hitting these two worlds together. It's like
Interesting.
what the hell's going on? And it's there's
Yeah.
a mystery to solve there as far as where are these mechs coming from?
Oh, okay.
And they look at the stuff from our time, you can find a coffee mug, and it's the ancient ones, which is us now.
Oh, okay.
Use this as a vessel for such and such,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
it was a coffee mug, dude.
Yeah.
I drank coffee, shitty coffee.
That's one of my favorite
Yeah.
things about Futurama is when they start talking about stuff from the 2000s.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
But it's a good game. It's
Yeah,
a good,
very, very fun.
been
Yeah,
playing it all week. Can't put it down.
Terrafnus robot dinosaur fighter.
Yep.
Huh.
That's
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
all
It's
I can
interesting.
think here.
Yeah. So, sorry, what?
It kind of reminds me of Zelda, the open world Zeldas a little bit.
It looks a little Zelda. Yeah.
If Zelda was more sophisticated and adult and stuff, and not made by Nintendo. So
True.
yeah.
I'll give
All
it
right.
that.
Do you guys have anything to bring up? Anything interesting going on?
No.
Dan?
Nada.
Just
Nah.
okay. No, that's good. We're kind of running low on time now.
Yeah, we should probably start talking
So,
about indie comics
yeah.
at some point here.
So now that we've gotten everything out of the way, this week we are kind of covering 2 weeks since we were out last time. So hope you enjoyed the interview for Arrow.
Yeah, Allie Burke, which is my sister-in-law, and Tara Hamilton made a comic called Arrow Comics. It's an ongoing series.
Yep.
Check them out. FindOKPress.com or ArrowComic.com. That's ARRO Comic.com.
Yeah, so hope you enjoyed that last week. And so then this week we will be covering Royal City, Think Tank, Extremity, Sun Bakery, Old Guard, The Few #2, Belfry, Curse Words #2, and Pix Volume 1, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, so let's dive in. Should we start with Royal City?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome.
Let's do it
So
up.
this was a lot thicker than I was expecting, I think, which I'm learning from Jeff Lemire is something to be expected.
56
after,
pages.
Yeah.
Twice the size of your average comic book.
Yeah, I think he got a little excited after doing AD After Death, maybe. I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah, this is like this could actually exist in that universe if it happened.
Probably.
Like this could be just some like
Prior.
side story where they find out like before they discover the cure for death this happened. I don't know, but it just looks so much
Or maybe
like that.
Or feed into it.
or Tommy
Yeah.
Tommy is patient zero or something.
Could be.
Yeah, it could be.
Honestly.
I didn't see it going the way that it went.
No. I was getting really confused because they kept talking like
Oh, y'all didn't
There's,
see
like,
that coming?
there's
I didn't see it
there's
coming. I really
multiple
didn't.
blonde guys named Tommy. I'm just like, why are there so many Tommies?
I knew that little kid was
I
dead.
only started picking up on it when they had them like all together, and that was when I
Yeah.
was like, oh, what is going on?
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
up until like I'm at like page 30 of a comic, I'm like, okay, so let's get in. Is this just autobiographical? Is this
Yeah.
like just going to be like Fun Home? Like that's all good, but I expect something weird. Lemire.
What's going on
Let's get
here?
to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay, so I guess a quick rundown. Which does anyone want to give a quick rundown? I can do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll
I don't
do
know
it.
how it would start.
So basically, there's there's two brothers, a sister, and then their parents, and then apparently this third brother named Tommy that comes in and out in various ways. So one of the brothers is coming back from the big city. He's a writer now, and he's really behind on a book he's writing. But the story really starts off with the father getting up in the middle of the night for a midnight stack and getting yelled at by his wife, and then he goes out to his shop and he starts tinkering with a radio, which there's a ton of radios around him, and then all of a sudden he hears out of the radio he's tinkering with the word daddy among the static. He says Tommy, and then falls over with a stroke. And then the son's driving in from the city, and he is arguing with his publisher. And then all of a sudden he sees a little boy, and he says, Tommy? And gets down, chases the kid, and the kid kind of disappears, and then he gets back in the car. And then we find the daughter, or the sister, who's giving a pitch for this old factory in this small city town to tear down the factory and turn it into a golf club resort. And her husband hates her for it because he works at the factory. And then it turns out that the other brother is an alcoholic who works at said factory as well. And his roommate, who is named Tommy, just wants to go gambling.
And drink every day.
Yeah, and drink every day since that's all they really do. And then the father in his coma after his stroke sees Tommy in like the fizzlingness of like the street lamps. It's kind of a weird dream. And then you see the mom at the bedside of the father with a pastor or a preacher who turns out to be her son, Tommy. And then finally the two good kids who aren't drunks show up at the bedside of the father, and the one realizes that the alcoholic brother hasn't been told yet, so he goes over to the alcoholic brother's house and runs into Tommy yet again, follows Tommy to the I'm trying to be quick. This is a long book.
You're fine.
And then he follows Tommy to the gravesite where apparently Tommy is dead and buried, and we realize, and then Tommy starts kind of narrating, and he points out just how that each of them sees him as they want him to be. And he even makes the comment that the alcoholic one is the only one who really sees things for how they are. And then it ends with the out of town brother looking at the gravesite with the 5 different Tommies standing there, saying
Different ages and
they're kind of at different ages because the sister sees him as the little brother that she needs to babysit. The alcoholic sees him as an equal. The mom sees him as the preacher. The dad sees him as what appears to be like a middle school athletic-y looking kid because of the shirt he's wearing. And then Pat, the brother from out of town, sees him more as like what looks like a teenager in high school. So definitely an interesting read. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed that spoiler. Just a note, we're a spoiler podcast.
Yeah. Also, we spoil comic books.
yeah.
After that's been spoiled for you.
Yeah. No, but it's I guess if I spoiled it, I'm sorry, but you should read this because, for one thing, the art is fantastic and the writing is also very good.
I think he nailed it with the family dynamic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was
You know what I mean? Like, it's just as far as the dialogue and whatnot. I'm not saying everybody's family is that way or anything like that, but it felt very realistic and real dialogue. Like even in the beginning, they got me with the mom and dad when he's like, because my wife has yelled at me before for doing some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like I'm in the middle of the night, and she's like, "What are you doing?" Like, oh, I'm making myself, A, B, and C. And she's like, "It's kind of late for you eating that." I've had that conversation, so it felt really real to me for him to get yelled at for eating potato salad at 12 o'clock or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But
There's way worse things you could eat at midnight.
I was man.
Yeah, right. Well, I was
having potato salad.
I was even laughing
He's
at the
not
time.
eating like ice cream or
It was
anything.
11:30, and I was
Come
like,
on.
at 11:30, that's par for the course for me. I'm up
Right?
until like
I'm still
1
hungry at
o'clock.
11:30. Yeah.
I really the family dynamic for me was like like you got like kind of the brother who's a fuck up and like he's off in the bars drinking or whatever and the way that affects the dynamic between all the other family
Not
members
going to work and stuff.
Yeah, man, it was just really cool. Like this is what Lemire does. He creates characters that you care about,
Relatable stuff
like,
too. Everybody has something to do in this with this family dynamic. Everybody has a piece of this somewhere.
Yeah.
As far as the parents or the alcoholic brother or like the sibling who's the perfect one and you're the mess up. All that kind of stuff. It hits true.
Well, and every family's like kind of revolves around like two things also, and that's ideally mutual love and respect for one another. But then there's also like coping with loss, because any family has a member either at some point that they lose, and that leaves a hole.
Yeah.
And in some cases, in a lot of cases, like the rest of your existence as a family revolves around that. And Lemire always does really personal stuff. Like Trillium is clearly personal, and it's way weirder. It's way weirder.
And Trillium, when was this written?
That was the one where there's the like jungle explorer guy in the 1920s who meets a woman from the far future when humanity's all dying out, and then they switch roles and genders.
Cool. Oh wow!
By eating a drug.
Nice.
It's real crazy. It's
Yeah.
all this
Sounds
Huxley
trippy.
level.
Yeah.
But it's also about family upbringing and relationships. I mean, at its core, it's superficially about aliens and drugs.
Yeah,
but
that's just kind of like the backdrop for like the characters,
Aliens
and
and
their,
stuff.
this
and
is
their
all
dramas and
like
stuff.
this would be a great first episode of like, if this was the first episode of a TV series, I would be like, add that to the queue.
Yeah, yeah.
Forever.
Immediately.
Keep
Well, I think-
downloading every new episode, please.
Someone already tried to offer Lemire and Snyder like a movie deal for 80 After Death.
Yeah.
I don't know if they accepted it or not, but
hope
I mean,
they did.
before the first issue came out, they got an offer for it. So
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
it
some
was
Mark Millar stuff right there.
Yeah,
Well, and I heard one of Jeff Lemire's other comics got either TV or movie rights. Gotten. I don't remember. It was one. I'm not super familiar, I guess, with his older books. There's one where there's like a guy in a underwater suit. Would you be familiar with that? I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
shoot.
I don't know. I know
Yeah.
Lemire, and I think he's had movies made from his stuff.
I
in the
hope so.
past. Like I think
Freaking good.
he does this. I thought I had heard someone mention on a podcast that he makes these short story runs and then sells the movie rights to people and stuff.
So out of curiosity, what would you guys give this one? Though?
Yeah, star rating. Let's do out of 10 stars is what we do.
We do throwing star ratings.
Yeah.
Oh,
Out of 10.
Shurikens?
10 is the best. I don't know. I would give it 9 right now, I guess. Waiting to give it the
Solid.
10 with
Solid.
the following.
You're
issues.
swinging hard there, man.
It's I don't know. It's
Yeah.
good. I
It's
like
an
it.
that's
excellent
cool.
first issue.
Yes,
It
yes.
really is.
Yeah.
For a first issue, it's leading very well into the rest of the story.
Cool. What would you rate it?
Oh, I'd concur with 9.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm in that same area. 8.5, 9, right in there.
8.5.
Oh
Yeah,
man, you're
for
getting
me.
really technical
Yep.
there with
Hey,
the
I'm-
0.5.
Sorry,
know.
man. I'm not right at 9 yet. I don't know. I'm
close.
almost there. I really
Okay.
really enjoyed it, but
What
Is you more in the same?
What do you
saying?
see that is the detractor then to not quite make the 9?
I think it's just a personal preference for me. Sometimes, like I've only read this and 80 After Death, and they're both wonderful things, and they're both very specific to the type of stuff that he writes. It's just not necessarily what I go to comics for all the time.
Right.
I
feel that too.
And that
a little
again,
heady,
like
yeah.
I can't really count too much off for that because that's just a personal preference thing.
Yeah.
But just a personal.
I feel
preference.
the same way.
It's awesome.
With
you
the
should
realism
buy it.
and stuff. It could be a great read, and I'm wondering where it's going to go from here, though. Like, is the whole story going to be just about them coping with the death of their sibling or son or whatever the case may be, or is there going to be like some kind of like sci-fi twist in here or something, or are they going to discover something? Like, I'm just curious to know where it's going to go, but I'm interested. I just wonder how well it's going to hold my interest going forward.
Yeah.
If it turns out to just be them all mutually like not hallucinating or just like imagining, and there's nothing supernatural going on.
Like, there's something cool tying it together. Like, don't just be this story about a family coping with death.
Well, there's got to be something though, that rather than just like them all hallucinating in different ways, because Pat at the end sees all
if he
of
sees
them.
all of them. Okay, that's a good point. Yeah,
unless it's like one of those shared dream states, which then that gets into like some that in itself is something, I suppose, rather than just them all hallucinating random things.
I mean, and the thing that I don't know, man. I think I would enjoy this much more as a live action, like I watch it type of thing, because knowing him, the end result is going to be something really ambiguous and like you're not going to be able to, like, it's not a Bruce Willis was dead the whole time type giveaway. It's more of a like he's not going to answer all our questions, and that's just the type of writer he is. And that's cool. Like, I love that type of writing, but it's not, again, what I go to comics for.
It creates a lot of conversation for afterwards.
Yeah,
you can talk about for long after you finish reading it, which is great.
I bet it's just going to end and the answer is purgatory.
They're all in purgatory.
Yeah, they're all in purgatory. That's what they did.
It's a Lost reference.
They had a
Sorry,
family.
that reference was lost on
They had
me.
a family stroke.
Oh, hey.
Anyway,
you
see
guy.
what I did there?
No, I didn't.
Well, Brian K. Vaughan's partially responsible for that mess. So
Brian, what now?
yeah, he wrote that. He partially wrote some of the episodes of.
What?
Brian K.
Now
Vaughan.
you have to watch Lost.
Was it during the writer's strike?
I've
No,
seen
him
like
and Damon
half
Lindelof.
of it, and it got really weird for me, and I stopped watching it.
Ben loves Brian K. Vaughan.
Yeah, he's one of my top writers.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
I put all of the decent episodes of Lost at Brian K. Vaughan's feet and all the bad stuff at Damon Lindelof.
Okay. I don't know,
so
Damon.
There's a lot of bad
latter.
ones where it dipped down, especially during the writer's strike. You saw the difference immediately.
Yes.
Because they
like so bad.
Well, they would have to just start ad-libbing everything, technically.
Well, you knew that it was like my wife and I were watching that, and it got to the point where it was during that part where it was like, and we just look at each other and go, "This doesn't make any fucking sense." I was like, "What?" Okay, this is during the writer's strike.
They were all just doing really bad improv. And like, oh, where did all these ninjas come from? How did you get
now
frosting?
we have to get ninjas.
Time for a
on my
flashback.
face? Ninjas that throw frosting.
Several flashbacks later.
Yeah.
All
right. Yeah, we should move on.
Yeah, let's talk. Let's talk about some think tank animals. Number one.
Yeah,
that's what that was called, right?
I like this.
Yeah, think tank animals. So this was interesting, I thought.
I'll sort of pitch it a little bit. So it's Sorry, I'm trying to get it open here. So it's a sci-fi, I guess, a think tank.
It's sci-fi in the sense that it's just a lot of technology, really.
Yeah, and that's what true sci-fi is.
Yeah.
Is like true sci-fi is like taking things that are rooted in reality and running a little bit with them.
Yeah, but I guess what I mean is it's not to the point where like we're in outer space yet. It's just like slightly into the future.
Yeah.
No, but I mean like old school sci-fi, like where it's like iRobot and stuff. Like sci-fi in that regard.
Okay.
Yeah. So science fiction. So this really ingenious guy tries to kill himself. Doesn't succeed. He works for the government, developing killing tools for them. I think, and that's a very like kind of base way to put it, but like
He's a
super genius.
Yeah.
So you find out that someone's been using his device they've been implanting it in the brains of animals and killing people with it, and that's kind of where we leave off at the end. Is he finds out that someone's been, using his technology to kill people.
Yeah.
And then his dad shows up.
Yeah.
So some couple things about this book. I thought it was just a number one. Apparently, it belongs like think tank. This is think tank animal, and there is just a straight think tank, and there is at least 4 volumes. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Because they make reference
yeah,
to
they
that
made
with
reference
these
to
little
volume
blurbs
4.
here
Yeah.
and there. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yep.
what does that mean?
And so
like, am I missing something?
yeah, so it's seen in Think Tank Volume
like-
4. But gotta say the artwork on this fantastic. I love
Yeah.
the characterizations. I really like just the style that it was drawn in. The panel layout was really easy to understand.
Yeah, for sure. It flowed well.
The theme of the book was really cool. I really like the concept of like these super geniuses, being in a
Yeah.
think tank together and sort of working for or against the government in certain regards. So I thought that was really cool as well.
It felt very James Bondy, I guess, but without like just
The
James
espionage
Bond.
of it.
Yeah,
but it's
it
like
was-
it's like a story about Q, I suppose.
It was
from
like
James Bond.
it was like James Bond meets what's the movie about the pill you take that makes you smarter? Gosh, what's
Limitless.
Limitless.
It's like James Bond meets the Limitless TV show, if you've ever
Okay.
seen that. But that show was awesome. It got canceled after one season,
Oh,
I
that's too
think.
bad.
But yeah,
It looked good.
Because in this, they're trying to. He says they think they're framing him because they're using
Yeah.
his technology to take out like Russian diplomats or
Well,
leaders and stuff.
And then the one guy, so all the animals were rigged to explode, except
Right.
for like one.
the horse. The
well,
horse didn't.
But he did
trampled
kill the
him.
guy.
Yeah,
But there was another guy
Right,
that
yeah.
right before all this got kidnapped, and so they thought he was connected. And then when they find him, it turns out that he's actually the
he was
leader
the
of
bait.
everything.
That-
And then well, he wasn't just the bait. Like I think he was in charge.
yeah,
And then when they come to save him, he like knocks everyone out and
flips the script.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And then the guy's dad shows up. I don't know what that means.
yeah, and yeah.
with a
That's
guitar on his back. And
that's
everything.
Did he
probably
have a guitar?
Yeah, he had a guitar.
yeah. He looks
He's like,
like
hey, I'm gonna play you guys some
he
songs
looks
real
like
quick.
Willie Nelson or something. He has like a peace symbol necklace and stuff. But
Awesome.
It's like free love, man.
yeah, I will
Oh,
say
yeah.
that the narrative got a little confusing for me because it turns out that he was narrating it, but at the beginning there's the same narration talking about how animals are smart while they're killing people. So I thought he was the one that planted all these things in these animals to kill people because he was narrating that. The
I
whole
wonder
time.
if it's just like his report, because
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
he knows what each one what all happened, and so he's like giving, since it's the military, like he's giving a report as like why they would pick those animals to do these things. I suppose maybe.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think it was a great read though, man. I don't know what ratings. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I'd give it a 6.
Wow. Okay.
Come and bring that bar low, huh?
I don't know. I don't
It's
know.
okay.
I didn't care for the story, or it felt very predictable to a point. I guess.
Cool.
I don't know.
Okay.
That's all good.
It was enjoyable for what it was. Let's say.
What'd you think of it?
I actually missed this one, so
Oh, you did?
yeah,
Did I not
so it's
tell you?
not fair for me. No, you
Oh,
did.
okay.
I just goofed that up.
We're lazy.
Sorry.
No, it's cool.
I looked at your message. I was like, oh, I've read all of these. I had all
Oh.
of them in my pile, and it turns out this was the
Oh, okay,
I did
okay.
not,
The one
so,
you didn't.
Yeah.
Mondo?
I'm a little higher than Dex. I'll probably say maybe a 7 or an 8.
Okay.
7.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right in there.
I'm there with you, man.
I enjoyed
think,
it, but
I think 7 for sure. I think 7
Okay.
is what
6, 7,
I'm at.
7.5.
Yeah.
pretty
It
close
was a
enough.
good book. I think it's fun, man. It had some aspects like, have you guys read Animosity at all?
Oh yes.
Yeah, the parts where the animals were freaking out on people reminded me of Animosity without like the comedic talking or whatever.
You should
Yeah.
watch
that book
Zoo
has, so.
on Netflix. That whole thing's blown out. And
Okay.
yeah, where
Yeah, I'll
the
check
animals
that
are
out.
working together to take out people.
Oh yeah.
It starts with the lions and like
you're telling us about
Africa.
Zoo. Yeah.
they're
It
like,
sounded
they're
interesting.
picking
Do you
off
get like a
people.
narrative from the animals? Like, do they
No.
talk or anything?
You can just tell they're working against the
Oh,
people,
okay.
and they start figuring
Cool.
out like they're working together, and then you start seeing like they show like these animals in the city that lure people, like lure this guy into an alley, and the dog lures him down the alley or whatever, and then like
Sure.
all these cats come out and stuff, and I don't know, it's kind of cool how they did it,
Mittens,
Check
take
it
him
out.
to the roof.
Yeah, Mittens.
Nice.
That's like the 5th page of Animosity. Mittens, take him to the roof. That's a good
Oh
line.
yeah. I love that part. Yeah.
Cat named Mittens.
Oh man,
Okay.
I love Animosity so much. It's so funny.
It really is.
It's just great. Aftershocks coming in hot, man.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah.
came out of nowhere, and they have so much good content. It's just
They
they're
have
awesome.
really solid creative teams on every single book.
Yeah,
It's
that's
outrageous.
Yeah, like because most of the time, like a lot of times on indie books, you'll see either really, really great art and storytelling or really, really kind of bad art and storytelling, and there's no in between. A lot of the indie books you find there's really substandard art on, which I hate to say, but like that just happens a lot on titles that people don't care about as much, or that publishers don't care enough to get a good artist, or whatever. So it's really cool to see a publisher take like on every title they put out, they're putting a lot into it. Yeah. So it's cool.
That being said, there are no Aftershock books that came out this week or last, I think.
No, not
so.
That
That's why we're not covering any of that, which is too bad.
But we are covering
Extremity. How about that? This comic was surprisingly good.
Mm-hmm. This was my favorite of the week
because based on the cover, I honestly wasn't expecting much.
I love the art.
It is good art, yeah. So, like the cover though, it's like this girl standing there, and she has like a hand drawing on this papers as they fly away, and then her other hand is missing and it's bloody, and then she has a weird birthmark tattoo over her eye that everybody in her people race has, and then there's another group of people that has
People race.
Well, I don't know what to say. Like I don't know what they are. I mean,
like tribe or something.
I guess
they're
a tribe, and so maybe it's a tattoo
Close
because
enough.
they all have it, and then there's another
You were fine
tribe.
with people race. I just want to give you a hard time.
This girl like lost her
I don't
hand
know.
though, man.
But so
things.
she was kind of like the official illustrator of her tribe, of her people tribe.
Yeah.
And
that's what we're sticking to.
yeah,
People
and
tribe.
they were invaded by another tribe that had like, instead of this like red rectangle tattoo over their eye, they had a green circle tattoo over their eye. And then when they attacked them, they cut off her hand with like this really cool like shark tooth vice looking thing. I don't know. It looked
like
kind of cool.
Like
This
a
is actually a
jaw on
lot.
the dude's hand.
Yeah.
This is actually a lot like Horizon Zero Dawn
Yeah.
when I think about it.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And the interesting thing too about this comic is all these tribes live on these floating islands, and there's a map on the back of the book that looks very interesting. It reminded
Oh
me.
shit! I didn't see the map.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It
it's
reminded,
rad.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of like
man.
kind of those old JRPGs, I suppose. And really, the feel of the story is very much like that too. Kind of made me think of. I don't know. Reminded me of Chrono Trigger for some reason. I think the flying.
I was thinking Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was maybe the flying island, since there's the flying nation in,
That's a
in
great
Chrono
reference.
Trigger. But yeah, so there's just a very Mad Max feel too, I suppose. Just the way, like the use of technology and
Stuff
Yeah,
belching
post-
smoke and
yeah,
blood and,
and
blades.
and like, well, and then especially with so the tribe that it really focuses on, the leader of it, he wears like this really huge like mask made out of the teeth of the people he's defeated, which kind of looked like I can never remember his name, but
Immortan Joe.
The guy from Mad
So
Max.
much.
yeah, the main villain
head
from the
villain,
last
yeah.
Mad Max.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically this tribe, they get attacked by another tribe. They kill the queen, maybe, I guess, whatever that would be, and then chop off the daughter of the king, the leader guy's hand, who is the illustrator that we mentioned before. And so then really the meat of the story is about the retaliation. Where they go straight for their leader and succeed.
Now he's the dude with the big ass head that's sitting around with people. And they're like, "Play
He's
us a
like-
song,"
and then he's
like,
playing the violin.
"I'm not
He is
playing-
also an artist.
I'm not
that
playing
uses
you
his
a
hands.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
And
like, "I'm not playing a song for you guys. I'm not." And then they're like, "Oh, you can't do it." You know, the classic trope of trying to trick him into playing. And he
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, and then he ends up playing, and then that's right when they attack, and
Right.
Yeah.
and then they end up capturing him, and then the kid who's supposed to become king eventually, I don't know, he just like can't stomach chopping off this other guy's hands, and so then the girl who has her hand chopped off just like, here, I'll do it.
Doesn't give a fuck.
No.
Just straight up
Not
chops,
at all.
chops him straight off.
It's
Yeah,
great.
and there's
too.
a really I forgot about this splash in the middle of
That
when
splash is great.
when they first attack.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Such a good splash. There's just so
Beautiful
much
gore.
chaos
Going on.
and blood.
Beautiful
It's great.
chaos.
And I like there's down in the corner there's a guy who like got a bullet to the head, and there's another guy just like looking at him like really freaked out.
Yeah. The gore in this reminds me. Have you guys seen the book Spread?
No.
It's an image title, but there's a lot of gore like this in that
Yeah.
book. And,
Which to me
visually looks a lot like that.
there is
I
a
was thinking about Manhattan Projects.
I haven't
Nick-
read that
Nick
one
Pitara?
yet. Okay.
I've seen it,
Yeah,
but
well,
I haven't read
oh.
it. I've seen pages.
The lines are really similar, like the way
Yeah.
he draws.
Kind of thick and gritty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Which
I like that a lot.
it's just cartoony enough that like the gore didn't bother me at all. I guess, and just the way the blood is flying, it's very unrealistic and very stylized. I guess it felt very like maybe 300 or like very Mark Miller, I suppose, in that sense. But yeah, and so then it ends, and it's funny. The king guy like just decks the other king that they just captured, and then yanks out a tooth, adds it to his little mask, and then the girl ends up chopping the guy's hand off, and then they leave him dead with a sign, "We're coming for the rest of you."
Well, the art in this is really similar to Manhattan Project. I'm looking at pages from Manhattan Project. Yeah, you're right.
Oh man, that's such a good book too.
The interesting thing here, though, too, is at the end, the brother comes up to the girl and is like, "Thea, how did you feel cutting off his hands? Do you feel any better?" And that's just how it ends.
That was great. No, she just looks at him, and it's just clear that it's like,
Well, it doesn't even show her looking at him. That's her face.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
her
Okay.
face.
Even before
Yeah.
that, though, the part that really set it up for me was like she has a flashback moment where the guy's like, I'm sorry, you know, and she's like, oh, weren't you playing when this happened? You were playing us a tune, weren't you? And,
Yeah.
you know, you were joyous about this, and she kind of paints the picture, and it shows him like playing like a little violin, and he's like smiling, and she has her hand cut off, and there's fire everywhere and stuff, and she's like, tell me, Asmund, and he's like, no, please. She's like, what melody does this drama inspire? And then she yaks his hand off.
Yeah.
Like that's the shit I'm talking about.
Yeah,
it's
great.
awesome. I mean, she's
was
so
so cool.
angry.
Yeah.
She's so angry.
But she has a reason. It sounds like
There's a lot to be angry about.
Yeah, she did. But she's learning to draw with the other hand, and she has a rad robot arm that has a sword and shit in it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah, that was cool.
That's kind of cool.
Like that's
sure.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, I can also see if I was I'm an artist, and if I got my left hand chopped up, I'm left-handed, I would be pretty pissed. So yeah,
starting all
Yeah,
over.
but chainsaw arm.
Yeah, what if you had a chainsaw? arm?
man, I'd still might be.
Can
holding
you
some
imagine
grudges.
just the attachments that you could have?
Whoa, just lost a mic. There.
Technical
Right.
difficulties.
Yep.
Technically.
I think the word you're looking for.
Doing better now.
I think the word you're looking for with the chainsaw arm is groovy.
Yeah.
Groovy. That's how I feel about it. Yeah,
Well, and then if you have in your other hand a boomstick.
Yeah.
yeah.
My boomstick says.
I mean, you could put like a corn cob holder. Like you could put like.
I love that. That's like the
corkscrew.
thing you went
baby
to.
spear.
Yeah,
Like
corn
you
cob
could have
holder.
like I don't know, like a
like
mace.
a-
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I like
Yeah.
the corn cob holder.
baby
Anything.
spear.
Like,
a panini press, like like all sorts of stuff that could just like.
Yeah.
Come
I see
out
you
and
gave
be
me
like,
a
"Look at this."
sandwich, but I want a panini.
You'd be the most
It's a
fun
good
person
thing.
to camp with
Got you
ever.
covered, man.
Corn cob.
So anyway, what would we score this? Since we've been starting with me, I'll just go first. I will give this an 8. No, 8.5.
8.5.
Yeah, I'll go 8.5.
Yeah, I like it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy to give it a 9. I really
right.
enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna go with Dex on that 8.5.
Yeah.
9. I'm at
right.
a 9 on this one. This just
8.75 all around.
this like it was like awesome, man. I love the artwork on it. It's just
No.
it's so good.
It was definitely fun to read. It was quick to read. I had fun and enjoyed it. I think I don't know why I'm really reluctant to give it the 9. I don't know why.
This is what I go to comics for, man.
I
Like
don't know.
fantastical, like
ponder this for
weird
days.
stories. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is what
Oh,
I
yeah.
love. Yeah.
I think I'm just worried about where it's going. I think that's what's bringing it
That's
down.
what always makes me worried. is
Yeah.
where
Not
the
me.
damn
I'm
story's
excited
going.
for where it's
Yeah,
going,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
I think it can only get weirder and more fun.
Yeah,
I
I
guess,
hope
I
so.
guess we can't
I
focus
hope
on
so.
where it's going necessarily when you're reading the first issue,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
hard not to because this, you want it to be a self-contained
Well, it's the
thing.
first chapter of a book. you know,
Exactly.
so,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I think what it is maybe is it brings in some nostalgia with the floating islands and just the feel of it, and I'm worried that I'm bumping it up a bit because of
Right.
that, and so
Yeah.
then that makes me want to bump it down a little bit.
Reminds you.
I
of
mean,
that
regardless,
Atlantis
we
or
recommend that people buy it. So
Oh, definitely buy
de-
it. You
definitely
need to buy it.
Yeah,
Give them money. Give them all of your money.
something. Give
Yeah.
them the money.
At
maybe
least-
not all.
At
of
least
your money.
like what is it, $4 or $5? So yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, anything else about this? Does
Nah,
anyone-
no,
All right,
no.
let's move on.
Moving on.
Does anyone want to talk about Sun Bakery?
I don't remember it. I don't know if I read it.
It was. Do you want to, Dex, or
That's
anyone?
Dan.
It was. It's
What?
okay.
You said Dex.
What? No, Dude, I always mix. No,
Let's hear
it's
this.
mine.
Oh, you're pointing at Ramon.
Yeah,
Completely
I
different.
totally just looked away when he said,
dude.
He's like Dex, and he just
Sorry,
points at me.
guys. Sorry.
You gotta like do something to me, man. This is like this has happened like 3
I
times
don't know.
now.
You give me one of the hardest ones to like describe. Like,
So Sun
Yeah.
Bakery.
it feels. I don't know. You want to go? You want to do it?
I'm not sure if I read it.
It
I
was a
read it,
magazine,
but it wasn't a
we
lot.
don't, we don't really need
There
to
wasn't a
recap
lot
this
to
for
it.
people.
There
missed-
really wasn't a lot to
I
it.
missed this one. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just a
yeah.
futuristic-y, story in this. I can't even remember like how it went down exactly. There wasn't a lot of dialogue or anything.
Well, it was a
like,
magazine. It's not a
Yeah.
comic. It's
What do you
like,
mean by it was a magazine? Like, were there just like articles, or was it just magazine size?
What is
Just
Sun
short
Bakery?
stories.
Yeah, very short
Oh,
stories.
so kind of like heavy metal.
The
but-
right,
yeah,
the
sort
right,
of,
but
not
less
as
heavy
deep.
metal-y.
Yeah.
The writer wrote at the beginning, they said, "What is Sun Bakery? This is an ongoing comic book anthology magazine, meaning there are a bunch of stories in here. Some will be ongoing, some one-shots, all of them
Okay.
super fun."
That's
There you go.
I really like that concept. If I knew that, I would have read it.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. Some of the art was
Very-
a little harder to.
I couldn't get
I
into
didn't
it.
like the
Well,
artwork.
and that was half the
The
reason
first
I.
Metroid thing was kind of weird, and
That does look really weird. There's not a lot of dialogue there.
The one part that I will say that I did enjoy was
Definitely
just
hand lettered.
how they referenced real world stuff in there. Like she's getting ready, and then they're like, "Sleigh Bells" is playing in the background. And
Yeah.
I pulled a specific song. And I was like, I know that song, And then it's like now when I was when I was reading through it and flipping through, I was
Yeah.
picturing that song in my head as I went through. So that was
Wow.
kind of like a nice little tie-in for.
And this is almost
but-
like a straight up Metroid ripoff. It looks like too.
to some degree,
Or-
yeah.
parody,
Maybe.
to whatever degree.
At
But
least
no.
that first story anyway.
Yeah.
But that was the highlight for me. But other than that,
Is that Angry Cat?
right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's just a weird zine, man. I mean, that's
For
what
sure.
That's the best way to.
And it's
describe
not a bad
it.
story. It just wasn't for me.
right. It's an interesting concept, I guess. I mean, having not read it, I'm interested in reading it, and I'm interested to see more if it is an ongoing.
It's a
magazine.
very quick read.
Yeah.
Very quick. Just very little dialogue.
Like maybe 5 minutes
Maybe.
tops.
Yeah,
you're pushing it with
I mean, just
5.
leafing through it, I really like the coloring and just the use of colors and stuff. It's a lot of neons. It looks interesting. I like it.
It's like an art. I don't know. It's like an art.
It's very
book,
zine-y.
yeah.
It feels like a
it's
zine.
zine. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. It's hard for me to call it like a comic book in the traditional sense of like a
No.
comic book.
What's
yeah.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
pretty fair.
Yeah.
It's like
Would you-
heavy metal if it was all J-pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there you
that's-
go.
yeah,
I like
there you go.
that.
J-pop.
Boom.
Why is it Sun Bakery?
Yeah, I think
I
that's
couldn't
just
figure that out.
that's just something they wanted to call it. Maybe it's just a cool name.
Well, Sun, since it's very J-poppy, Sun may be referencing Japan, land of the rising sun.
sun baked, or like they're baking up some.
I mean,
Sun chips.
well, I mean, it could be
I'd love some sun
if I'm
chips right now.
if
Yeah.
I'm allowed to read into it way too much, it could be a reference to like them being bombed, bakery, and then Sun, land of the rising sun. I don't know.
Or like sun baked, like how I don't know, like you go out in like really hot weather,
Yeah.
bright sun, and you come back and you feel sun baked.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like a
Yeah.
silly. I don't know.
I like that blade
I don't know
though.
where I'm going.
Zasha's blade
Yeah.
features. Some of those features are kind of funny. Wi-Fi connection.
Why would your blade need Wi-Fi?
I know.
Why wouldn't it?
Joint container.
I mean, Bluetooth.
You
I can
gotta
see
have a container for your joint.
I can see Bluetooth, but
mean-
not Wi-Fi.
Like, did you read it? Did you look at it though?
Joint.
Like, it says Wi-Fi connector at the top. Joint container for.
Why do you have
for
it? Listen,
drugs.
if you have that high
Your
tech of a
deodorant
blade,
stick.
why do you have a joint container and not a built-in vaporizer? Explain
Boom.
that.
Yeah,
to me.
right.
Explain
yeah,
that
come
to me.
on.
Good point.
Yeah.
Sun Bakery, what your move?
That's right.
I like that the Wi-Fi connection is also a light
Yeah, deodorant stick,
wire spool
lighter fuel
for like choking people.
heat coil.
Man, there's so many ways a deodorant stick and a sword could go wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a magnet on the tip that could be useful.
Yeah, I feel that.
nothing more.
Yeah.
Oh, GPS.
No, it genuinely.
I know where you want to poke them.
Like you could. Well, somebody else gets shot, you can extract a bullet.
Oh yeah.
right?
See,
That
I
would
was
be
thinking
kinda
if you
dope.
dropped your keys down a drain.
Well, that's also a much more practical and non-violent application.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
blades in this world utilize precious dream skills. Therefore, they are used for much more than killing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Design your
I
own
dig
blade,
that.
and then it goes into like a pitch.
But also for
Oh, so it's like an
blade.
ad. All right, all right. So
That's funny.
to the fellows who read this, what would you rate it?
I don't know. I couldn't get into it too deep. I'd give it a 5, I guess.
Yeah.
And like I said,
Yeah.
nothing against the guys who made it or whoever wrote it and stuff, but it just wasn't for me.
Yeah,
I give it a 5.
I hear that.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
wanted
I
more.
think it's something that would be like cool to own a paper copy of because
Right.
it's maybe like kind of a more art. I hate saying like artsy, but it's like it's a work of art. It's a zine, man. Like it's
Right on.
it's this fun, weird little like flip through zine. It's if you like collecting zines, then buy it. It's I can't really rate it like a comic book though because I don't think it is one.
Yeah, the content isn't there in that same sense.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Dan, what would you rate this one?
5-ish. Like it's hard to. I don't know. Yeah, it didn't do it for me, but it isn't. I mean, it isn't bad for what it is.
Exactly.
It's just not. I think that's all of our problem is that it's not what we kind of expected.
Right.
Yeah, or what
And
we
I
would
guess-
normally talk about.
I can't rate it a 3 just because I expected something different.
Yeah,
I guess. So,
Right.
Like, it wasn't the
Good for
meal
what
I
it was.
ordered, but I ate it.
sure.
yeah. True that.
That's a
don't
great
know.
way to put it.
I was hungry.
Did anyone read Old Guard?
Yeah.
Oh,
That was an
yes.
interesting book. Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. It's I don't know. Does anyone want to pitch this one? I mean, we don't need like
Oh.
you know.
I've pitched too
Yeah.
many.
Yeah.
Well,
Dan.
I'll pitch it.
go for it.
Oh, just ignore that. Sorry.
Okay, done.
Only we heard it anyway.
Is that the intro music for me pitching a book?
Yes, that is. Actually, the listeners didn't hear.
Yeah,
that.
that's not going to be in
Also
the end.
popular. Oh, okay.
Ben's
Well,
phone rang just for everyone.
Yeah.
enjoyed
So that way
this.
we don't have to edit that out.
I need to get that to stop. I don't know how to. Yeah.
Anyway, so Dan, what do you think of
So I'm just going to go from memory here, but it was it's Greg Rucka. I love Greg Rucka a lot.
Oh, Rucker wrote this.
yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, he's a real baller.
He is.
First few pages, you're introduced to a woman, and there's a nipple on the first page. That's
You got to
dope.
love that.
And it becomes clear that she's like lived in multiple different times, multiple different lives, and has just been a warrior of some form throughout these different lives, and then it kind of flashes forward to what you presume is present day. She just got done getting busy with some yahoo, and he's like, well, let me
Some
try,
rando.
my name is, and she's like, forget it, like, all plays it really cool. She's like, don't even tell me your name, it'll save me the trouble of forgetting it, like,
That
and she
was a
goes,
smooth ass line.
I know, yeah.
I was like, wow. Let somebody tell me that. I'm like, oh, okay.
I'd
Yikes.
be like, I'm yours forever.
This
But
is how this is going to play out.
this sound like a really bad 70s movie.
Sounds like something Matthew McConaughey
Yeah,
was saying.
throw
Like,
the Waka chicken. Waka chicken.
Oh, yeah.
save me the
sorry,
trouble
no.
of forgetting it. Time is a flat circle. Let me make a straw man out of a beer can.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And she- all right.
I love it. That's what's up.
So she goes and meets up with this group of other weird-looking dudes in a cafe in Spain, and they're told that it's clear that they're like shadow ops or
Working
or
for like a
thieves
government
or something
organization
like
or
that.
something.
Yeah.
And that they've maybe worked for multiple different ones at different times, and somebody who's an old contact has a job for them. And they're like, well, some of them are skeptical about taking this job.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they agree to meet with this Copley character, and he explains that there's kind of a Boko Haram situation in North Africa that a bunch of extremists went and kidnapped 17 girls, and they don't know when they're going to move with them. So they need somebody to go in quickly and do like some kind of like exfil. I
they
say
make the
exfil
best.
like I know anything
Yeah.
about anything, but they go and they agree to do it without like setting a price or whatever, and then they get set to head out there, and then the story breaks, and you're introduced to another new character, female Marine in Afghanistan, who's looking clearly for terrorists inside of a building with some women and children. She's interrogating somebody there, and they kind of indicate that the person that she's looking for is hiding behind a door. And at that point, he starts shooting the place up. They go in, put a bullet in him, take him out, and find out that there's like bombs and all sorts of crap in here. So they realize he has good information. They try and save his life, but he cuts this woman. Her name is Nyla? I'm not sure exactly. Nile or Nyla? He slits her throat, and then it just all goes white for her. And it goes back to that original team that you saw with who's presumably our main character, touch down in this base and show up, and there's no girls. There's just a desk with a camera, and there's a ton of dudes with machine guns, and they just lay into him with machine guns, like this team of 4 people, and they just immediately start healing like Wolverine, and they're like, all right, our turn, and they just rip the place apart. It's a really cool action sequence.
It's very good, yeah.
The art in this is fantastic. There's a really good use of negative space.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty noir, but it's also pretty colorful. Anyway,
it's
clear that the whole thing was a setup, and all they wanted to do was just get this team of 4 people, because it's clear that they're immortal or something.
Yeah.
Like they just get shot up, and they just streamed all of this from this video camera, and they're like, oh, we should take it, we should dump it, we should destroy it. And one of their team is just like, it doesn't matter.
They want to catch them in action pretty much and prove something.
And they're caught. So like there's nothing they can do about it. And then it shows that at the very end that the female Marine, since we're fully spoiling all of this, that the woman who had her throat slit in Afghanistan is fine. So she's clearly she's one of these people.
Yeah.
One of this old guard.
I think even what Image kind of put as a teaser was that there's several immortals, and then one more has emerged after so many centuries of no more immortals showing up.
Yeah,
So-
I'm really stoked for where this is going to go because I love Rucka, and he plays a long game. The art's fantastic.
I had trouble with the art at first, like in the beginning when they're like at the cafe, especially.
It grew on me.
Like when there's no action, the art, like the people look kind of goofy and they don't look
are
the
goofy
same.
looking.
Like the one guy has like kind of a bulbous nose, but I feel like it's drawn differently in different panels.
It's hard to differentiate who's who at times.
So
Yeah,
a little bit.
That bugged me a little at first, but I think like that was this artist's way of like maybe exaggerating people's features. Like that guy has like a fucked up nose,
very
and like this
caricatured.
is just like a kind of noir way to draw like his nose being weird shaped.
Yeah.
The panel layout was solid though.
No,
man.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it was so well laid
Especially
out.
the
Like,
action scenes.
yeah, man. Like your eye flows through it. No, it doesn't get caught on anything. It's really
I
good.
think the really cool part, though, that I was like, I'm all in, is when you see her, them carrying around the axe.
Oh yeah.
So they got all this, like,
It's on the cover.
exactly. But they're wearing all this, like, tech and everything from like now, but they're
Yeah.
carrying around this fucking axe from the past. It's like,
Yeah, which
that's kind of cool.
like
It
in that
looked like
first
all of them had like something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them had a scimitar or something, and then
Yeah.
another had like a
well, and
falchion.
in that first page that I guess that we mentioned too, she's using that axe like in each scene as it goes through time. I think.
Oh, yes.
It's
Wasn't
just
she?
cool seeing her like
Yeah,
all
at the
this
very
spec
beginning.
ops like gear, like looking like Splinter Cell type stuff, and then all of a sudden you're just wielding the axe. It's just,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. I don't know.
Man, I love that panel
no.
of the scope on the sniper too. Like you're seeing her eye and the scope like right at like it's really
It's also, I just noticed this now looking at that first page. The same dudes that she's fighting with like later on are the same dudes that are in the beginning too. So it's clear that they were like all, because like, and I only noticed this because of their weapons. I think that's the same people.
Like that.
Yeah,
sword
because
there.
that dude, one of those dudes has that same sword, and the other dude has that one.
Like later in the story.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like if you look when they walk in there, like from behind, I'm pretty sure I remember. Like scroll up here, one of them. Yeah, one of them has.
in the very beginning.
Yeah, that's the dude with the Templar. Whoa, he's got like a
He has
That's
a
weird.
He has
He
a
has a
Templar.
Templar.
Yeah,
shirt.
but that's one of the people with her. So,
I wonder if they're.
well, isn't that what you just said? They all have, or did you? Somebody
He
said,
was saying that they all
yeah,
have
they
a
all-
weapon of their own, but yeah, she was wielding that axe all through history. It looks like.
Yeah,
I
so
wonder
they
if
each
it's
must
all-
have had their own weapon throughout history. Because
Yeah.
the 4 of them are immortals, I think, from what I can
Cool.
tell.
This is dope. Yeah, I
Yeah.
It could be
enjoyed it a
linked.
lot.
It could be linked to their immortality or something too.
Yeah. So I guess what would we all give for the rating on this one? I I don't know. I'm excited about where this is going, and I definitely enjoyed like once the action got going. I think it took me a while to get into it, but I would give it an 8. I'm gonna say
Cool.
No, I'll give it a 9. I'm just throwing out 9s like I'm Biggie Smalls.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I'm gonna say 8.
Okay.
I'm going 9, man. I love Greg
Nice,
Rucka
nice.
so much. I love his work on Wonder Woman. Right now, it's so good. He's so good at I don't know. He wrote that story that forget what it's called, but it was the story with like the moonshine or
Okay.
Moonshine?
Moonshine?
Is that him?
No,
Is
not Moon. It's the
is that Azarello?
Because there is a moonshine that we talked about, but
the one with the werewolf.
Yeah, okay, that is moonshine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think hold on. No, that's Azarillo. I'm sorry, which is
Yeah.
another Wonder Woman writer. Yeah, that's why I confused them. And we're actually out of time, so we'll talk about more comics on the post show, though, because we have more books from the last couple weeks to cover. But we'll do that on the post show. So,
Thanks, guys.
Thank
I
you.
guess, so if you want to find any of us on the internets, you can find this show, Indie Comic Ninja, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I am Indie Comic Dex on Twitter. That's about it.
awesome.
I guess.
I'm on Twitter at Indie Comic Ben. Find my DC Comics fan podcast, Nerd Church Radio. Find Ramondo's video game podcast at Glitch Therapy. Where can we find you, Mondo?
Instagram and Twitter. You can find me at Nerdy Ramondo. Otherwise, you want a game or anything like that, or friend me on Xbox or PlayStation Network. It's Dirty Dimes.
Right on. I'm Dan Umthun. You can check out the Doomcast on Facebook and on Twitter at the Doomcast. And then if you want to check out my stupid tweets or comedy in general, just at Dan Umthun, UMTHUN, like something with no S.
And something to point out is you're actually a stand-up comedian as well.
Oh yeah. I
completely
didn't
forgot
say
about
that at all when I introduced myself.
That's
so.
awesome, man.
which has got to be super confusing for any of your fans.
Yeah, I've been doing this. I've been doing that for quite a while, but like
That's legit, man.
Yeah,
it's about as legit as it gets. Legitimately not very profitable, but it's
Yeah.
really fun. It's really fun.
about as profitable.
Man, you also
as,
let us know when you're performing, though. We'll
Hell
come
yeah.
out and see.
Yeah, every well, if you're in the Des Moines area, I run a mic over at Lefty's Live Music every Tuesday, and then every third Thursday of the month, there's a show at the Basement at the Social Club.
Nice.
It's underground
Okay.
comedy at the Basement. So
That's what's
There
up.
you go.
Awesome.
Heck yeah.
Very cool. All right, cool.
I guess that's it.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
keep oh yeah, we do a post show, patreon.com/Indie Comic Ninja.
Yep.
Donate at least $1 per month and you get access to all the other stuff that we talk about on that post show. So check us out there. Have a good week, everyone.
Yeah, smell you later.